is the month of Adar, and that means we're 2 weeks away from the Yontiv of Purim. And Purim is usually associated with Simcha. It's one of the happy times for some people. It's one of the happiest days of the year. The Arizal compares Purim to Yom Kippur. So Purim is generally assumed people dress up, people do different things, some are more out of the norm. So it's interesting to note that you would think that if Purim is a happy and festive day, one of the tefillahs, one of the things we have in davening that we mark off that it's a yontiv is by saying Hallel. So it's interesting to note that we don't say Hallel on the yontiv of Purim. And the question is, why not? So to understand that, we have to go back to a famous Gemara in Erechin, and Megillah discusses it as well. What are the parameters of saying Hallel? And then once we learn what the parameters are, what are the guidelines, then we can plug in why no Hallel on Purim. So the Gemara says there are 18 days a year when Yachid Gomer is a Hallel. We say a complete Hallel. And 21 days in Chutz La'aretz. The 18 days are 8 days Chanukah, 8 days Sukkot, 1 day Pesach, and 1 day Shavuos. And you add an extra day for Pesach, Sukkot, and Shavuos, you get 21. So 18 days a year we say Hallel, and 21 in Chutz La'aretz. So the Gemara wants to know, why are we discriminating against the Yontiv of Pesach? Sukkot we say Hallel Kol Shmona. We say Hallel all the days of Sukkot. We're Gomer as a Hallel, and yet by Pesach we're only Gomer the first day, or in Chutz La'aretz the first 2 days. Why don't Pesach and Sukkot are both part of the Shalosh Regalim, the cycle of the 3 holidays? And therefore, why should we discriminate against Pesach and not say Hallel? So the Gemara tells us, why does Sukkot warrant a full Hallel every day and not Pesach? Because by Sukkot, each day we brought a new carbon, a new sacrifice. By Pesach, every day we brought a sacrifice, but it's called, we bring the same ones. And therefore, apparently, Hallel is connected to the type of carbon. You need a new machayev, a new carbon to generate a new Hallel. And therefore, on Pesach, we don't say Hallel every day. We say a chatzi Hallel. We do a half a Hallel. But we're not gomer as a Hallel only on Sukkot. So that's what the Gemara says. The difference between Sukkot and Pesach is that each day of Sukkot will bring its own independent carbon. On Pesach, it's not. Right, so we see one of the prerequisites for saying Hallel is you need a carbon, you need a sacrifice. So the Gemara asks, how come Rosh Chodesh we don't say Hallel? So the Gemara says, even though it's called the Moed, even though it's called the Yontiv, nevertheless, it's not Iktish Ba'asiyas Malacha. There's no prohibition to do work on Yontiv, on Rosh Chodesh. And therefore, since there's no prohibition to do work on Rosh Chodesh, hence there's no Hallel. So it has to be, in order to say a full Hallel, it has to be Iktish Ba'asiyas Malacha. What about Shabbos? Is Iktish Ba'asiyas Malacha. So the Gemara answers, but it's not called the Moed. In other words, there's a discussion. If you look in the Psukim, you find sometimes Shabbos is referred to as a Moed, sometimes it's not. The Gaon discusses it's not for now. But we'll assume, like our Gemara, that Shabbos isn't called the Moed. So Shabbos isn't called the Moed, but it's Iktish Ba'asiyas Malacha, so that doesn't get Hallel. And Rosh Chodesh, which is called the Moed, but not Iktish B'Asiyas Malacha, you don't get a Hallel. So we see we need three things to require a Hallel. All three you need. It has to be called the Moed. It has to be a day which Malacha is prohibited. And three, it has to have its own carbon. If you only have one out of the three, two out of the three, it won't cut it. So Gemara says, what do you mean? What about Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur? They seem to have all three. They're called the Moed. They have their own carbon, and there's a prohibition to do work on that day. And yet we don't say Hallel on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So why not? It has the big three. So Gemara answers, you're right. Technically speaking, one should. It is all three things that would obligate you. However, the Gemara says it's inappropriate that it's Judgment Day, Yom Hadin, we're being judged on life and death issues, and we can't be oblivious that it's a day of judgments. Even though it's a happy day, it's not appropriate to openly celebrate. It's as the Rambam writes, it's not a day of Yemei Simcha Yisera. It's not a day of overabundance of Simcha. However, there is an element of Simcha on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur as well. That's the Hoshar Gazarian hasn't discussed that. And therefore, it's just inappropriate when the Sifrei Chaim and the Sifrei Mesim, the books of the living, the books of the opened up, we should be sitting there singing Hallel. So the Gemara, so really Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur should, but because it's inappropriate, so therefore we don't do it. It's parenthetically, the Avnei Nezer raised the question, so we said, what's lacking in Shabbos? It's not called the Moed. What's lacking in Rosh Chodesh? It's not usher to do Malacha. So the Avnei Nezer asked, so what about when Rosh Chodesh falls out on Shabbos? So then you should have everything. You'll have, it is a Moed because it's Rosh Chodesh, and it's Iktish B'Asiyas Malacha because it's Shabbos. So the Avnei Nezer answer is, apparently we see that it has to be one mechayev, one generating force that forces me to say Hallel. I can't take the Moed from Rosh Chodesh and the Issa Malacha from Shabbos. It has to be three have to generate from the same source, and hence that's why even when Rosh Chodesh falls out on Shabbos, we do not say we are in Gomer and Hallel. So we see that the prerequisites are, you need the big three. It has to be called the Moed. It has to be Iktish B'Asiyas Malacha. It has to be a day with prohibited work, and it's a day where you have its own carbon. So the Gemara asks, what are you talking about? Is that true? Chanukah. What about Chanukah? It's not called the Moed. It's not even, it's post-biblical. And there's no prohibition to do work. There's a minhag that among the women and others not to do malacha while the candles are lit, but that's just the custom. It's not Iktish B'Asiyas Malacha. On Rosh Chodesh also the custom, some women don't work, but that's a minhag, that's not Ma'ikar Adin. So therefore, what about Chanukah? Chanukah doesn't have the big three, and nevertheless we say a full Hallel on Chanukah. So what's going to happen to your big three principle? So the Gemara says apparently we see there are two different reasons why one can say Hallel. Number one is, as we mentioned, the big three. It's called a holiday, a Moed. It's prohibited in work and it has its own carbon, and apparently something independent. As the Gemara says, why do we say a Hallel on Chanukah, which is also post-biblical? Because Yom She'ira Bo Nes, it's a day which a miracle happened. Since it's a day where a miracle happened, so therefore we don't say Hallel. Therefore we do say Hallel. So we see that's enough of a reason not to say Hallel. I mean, that's enough of a reason to say Hallel. Either you have the big three, or if the day that the miracle happens, that warrants Hallel as well. So the Gemara asks, if that's the case, if it's a day which a miracle happens warrants a Hallel, what about Purim? So why don't we say a Hallel on Purim? Just like Hanukkah, Yom Shir Bo Nes, it's the day of miracle happens, we say a full Hallel. Why not on Purim as well? So the Gemara answers, actually the Gemara gives 3 answers. 3 reasons why we don't say Hallel on Purim. The answer number 1 the Gemara gives is it's a geographical proof. The Gemara says, since Hanukkah happened in Israel, the miracle, so therefore we say Hallel. But since Purim, the miracle of Purim happened in Persia, happened in Chutz La'aretz, we only warrant to say Hallel on a miracle that happened in Chutz La'aretz. And since Hanukkah happened in Chutz La'aretz, we do say a full Hallel. Purim did not happen in Chutz La'aretz. You don't say Hallel. So even though the Nes was this is good, but the fact it didn't happen, so it's a technical issue. It really is a day that would warrant Hallel. However, since it's not a miracle that happened in Israel, hence Chazal say no Hallel. So that's answer number 1. So the Gemara asks, is that true? That we don't say Hallel on a miracle that happened outside of Israel? Last I checked, we say Hallel on Pesach. And Pesach, we had Yetzias Mitzrayim, the exodus from Egypt. And last I checked, the exodus from Egypt didn't happen in the land of Israel. So what are you talking about? That you need to have Eretz Yisrael in order to warrant a full Hallel. The exodus from Egypt warranted Hallel, and that clearly wasn't in Eretz Yisrael. So the Gemara answers, it's accounting season to the grandfather clause. That, of course, you're right. Once, from the time of Yoshua going into Eretz Yisrael, the 7 years of Kibush, the Chiluk, he conquered the land and then he split it up. So after Yoshua entered Eretz Yisrael, so now Eretz Yisrael becomes a prerequisite or an impediment to say Hallel if it didn't happen there. But now that we got the land of Israel during the time of Yoshua, that warrants a full Hallel. That Eretz Yisrael becomes a primary factor. If you don't have Eretz Yisrael, you can't say Hallel. So that's A1 is Purim happened in Chutz La'aretz, hence no Hallel. A2, we do say Hallel. It's a different type of Hallel. Kriyasa zu Halela, the reading of the Megillah. The reading of Megillah Esther is like a Hallel, and therefore that warrants. Therefore, it is a day, so it seems to me that Chutz La'aretz isn't an issue, and really we should say Hallel even though the miracle happened out of Israel. However, since we're reading the Megillah, so therefore the Megillah Esther takes the place of Hallel. That is the Hallel. So that's A2. And A3 is Akate Avdei Achashverosh Anan. That in order to say Hallel, you have to be in the state of Avdei Hashem. You have to be in the state where you're servants to God, to Hashem. In other words, when they were no longer Avdei Paro and they were Avdei Hashem, then they could say Hallel. But Kol Zman, they were Avdei Paro, no Hallel. So too here, Akate Avdei Achashverosh Anan, even though the Jews were Matzliach with God's help, and Haman's decree of killing the Jews did not come to fruition, nevertheless, they were still under the thumb, under the rule of Achashverosh, and therefore, since you're not in the status of Avdei Hashem, but you're still Avdei Achashverosh, hence one cannot say Hallel. So we see that according to 1 and 3, the days that don't warrant Hallel, either because it happened in the Chotzot or we're still slaves. According to A2, it is a day that warrants Hallel, and we are doing Hallel with this during Kriyas HaMegillah. So that's the 3 reasons in the Gemara. Why don't we say Hallel on Purim? Either because it happened in Chutz La'aretz, we say Hallel with Megillas Esther, or it's still servant to Achashverosh. It's very interesting, Meiri. The Meiri writes, Meiri says, that what if you're in a town where there is no Megillah? Purim morning, you're in a small town, or you're a big town, and the Megillah is burnt down, they were stolen, they were pasul, whatever the case may be. One does not have Megillas Esther to read Purim morning. Of course, you could take out a Tanakh and read it, read it without a bracha, but you don't have a Megillah. So if you don't have a Megillah Esther, what do? So do you say Hallel or not? So the Meiri has a big Kiddush, a very logical Kiddush, but it's a Kiddush nevertheless. The Meiri writes that one who says Hallel, the Meiri writes that if you don't have Megillas Esther, then you have to say Hallel on Purim, because it's an obligation to say Hallel on Purim. Megillah takes the place. If you're not going to read the Megillah, so you have to do Hallel. So the Meiri says if there's no Megillah in town, you are doing Hallel. And we don't accept the Meiri. And the question is, why not? The Meiri sounds very logical and kosher. Like, if Kriyat Megillah zu Halela, if reading the Megillah is Hallel, so why not? So if there is no Megillah, we should read Hallel. So what's the pshat? So the commentators explain as follows. There are different types of Hallel. And we know the different ways that God shows His hashgacha, His divine providence. There are different types of miracles. There are open miracles where God breaks the laws of Teva. And everyone knows, you see the Yad Hashem, Kriyas Yamsuf, the splitting of the Red Sea, etc. And there are other miracles where God basically works within nature and makes it look like it's a natural event, but we have to see the Yad Hashem. So Purim is the only Megillah, the only book in Tanakh that doesn't have the Shem Hashem. Megillah is Esther Haster Panim, that God was hidden. God was working behind the scenes. Like the story with the Rabbi who was took his Hasidim, they're on the run from the pogroms or from the Holocaust, and they went into Russia and they were hiding there. So the Rabbi told the Talmud, get me a Russian newspaper. So the student said, but Rabbi, you don't read Russian, why would I get you a paper? He says the key is reading in between the lines. It's seeing the news behind the scenes. And that's what Purim is all about, is seeing God through nature. And that's perhaps why it says that perhaps that would be one of the books left in terms of many of the Sifrei Tanakh will become batal, but perhaps Purim will remain, because you always have to see God through nature. So there's two types of, there's the Hallel HaMitzri, the Hallel where God breaks the laws of nature, and then another type of Hallel where God works behind the scenes. That's the Kriyas HaMegillah, Megillah Esther. So that's the pshat. The Meiri sounds very logical. If there is no Megillah, you should say Hallel. The answer is no. Chazal set up a specific Hallel. There's no Hallel HaMitzri. There's no classical Hallel on Purim, but it's seeing God behind the scenes. That's Megillah Esther. And that's how the Meshech Chochmah explains beautifully. The Gemara tells us one who says Ashrei 3 times a day warrants reward in the world to come, and one who says Hallel every day is a Magadef and a Machayev. How could there be both? They're both in the book of Tehillim. Why from Ashrei I'm the greatest and from Tehillim I'm terrible? But from Hallel, the answer is because Ashrei is in the form of Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet. Hey, you see God in the everyday things, you have that attitude, then you'll be Zocha to Olam Haba. You'll reward in the world to come if you recognize everything from God. If all you see God is in the miracles, God, when you do a miracle for me, I'll believe, then you're a Magadif and a Macharev. And the Hallel on the Yom Tovim, it's the classical Hallel of breaking the laws of nature, the Yad Hashem. But Kriyat Zu Halela, that's the essence of Purim, is different. That's God working behind the scenes, so therefore we paskin, even if we don't have a Megillah in town, nevertheless, we don't say Hallel, because that type of Hallel, a mitzvah, was never warranted on Purim.